Hello everyone. Been a minute. I've gotten a few requests from friends and others to essentially narrate my thought process through a game. A lot of people have been coping with the F-14 being added, with the AIM-54 Phoenixes, and just the general workflow of top tier being so drastically different than it was about 5 months ago, so I figured I might as well just, cave in and make another War Thunder video. But anywho, little different format than you might be used to from this channel. I'm here afterwards narrating my gameplay because I was just sick, and speaking in long sentences isn't really my strong suit at the moment. But anywho, what we're doing right now is climbing, and that's not something I see a lot of people doing. Most people like to hug the ground, stay somewhere within 3,000 meters of altitude. Not me. I will be that one guy at like 8,000 meters. And there are two reasons I do this. One, at altitude I can see a lot more of the battle. And number two, I can also get a lot faster. There's also the added benefit of the fact that no one looks up. I don't know why, but no one looks up. And here I'm at 8,000 meters, and I have also made a critical mistake. I just unlocked the compressor modification and I forgot to check my fuel. I'll notice in a moment once the indicator starts getting angry at me. But anywho, I climbed over where I thought they would be, and then I notice it is where they're not. So I go ahead and make the turn in. I see a missile trail over there. It's not a Phoenix, there are no Americans on the enemy team. And now I've just noticed my fuel. And we have to move on from this crippling discovery. Plan has changed, we're just going to go in, launch our missiles, and get out. Now there's a furball starting to form over Port Novo. I don't know how to pronounce the full name. Not even going to try. So I've cut my burner. I'm now going to start a little bit of a descent to try and stay somewhere at Mach. There's an FGR down low, and I also know there are two other planes. One of them is a Tomcat, I believe, and the other one's an F5. So there's the F5, that's MiG-23, there it is. So here we are, we're going to queue up the R-13s. Now what a lot of people don't know about the R-13 is that it is a pretty decently long-range missile. It is very fast. So even though that was a 3-kilometer launch, that missile is going to track perfectly. And there he goes. Looks like another missile is also launched in him. Gonna launch one after this MiG-27. He doesn't see it coming. That's an R-60. It's gonna connect, and then I'm gonna launch another at the FGR. And then break off. Still not using burner. I only have 57 seconds of fuel. The R-13 is gonna track true. Now there's also a MiG-23. I like my burner to try and catch up to him, but he's going pretty fast, and the R-60, it's not a very long-range missile. This is well outside of its launch parameters. I see he's maneuvering, so he's going to get slower. I'm just going to send one after him, and then break off to head back to the airfield. 30 seconds of fuel, more than enough to get over there and start gliding. And there's also MiG-23 being chased down by several teammates, so I'm not too concerned about him. He's 7 kilometers out, and I'm still moving decently fast, so he's not going to be able to close the distance that quickly. Now 5 seconds of fuel, my engines are about to die, but those two folks back there are going to die in the enemy team, and the game will be over before I get a chance to land. So here we are in another game. I recorded 4 games, and they were all consecutive, and before we take off, I realize I forgot to fix the fuel. Now this generates problems for me in many ways. First of all, it means I won't be climbing above their radar. By the time I will have taken off again, they're already in the air, they're already scanning the horizon, and they'll be able to see me as I climb through their radar sweep and try and get above them, so that's essentially out of the question. Secondly, it means that they've already flanked. By the time I'm in the air, chances are they're already around the side, they're already queuing up a Sidewinder, and they're ready to shoot me as I try and pass them. So I'm going to have to play this round a little bit differently. And here we are, climbing again. We're only at 2,000 meters. My team is already way up front, the conflict has already begun, and I'm already getting locked. And I've noticed they've just shot missiles off, so I'm going to try and get into the notch, which means I'm going to fly perpendicular to their radars, and if they're in pulse Doppler mode, they'll lose lock. I've dropped some countermeasures and some chaff to spoof the missile center, and I'm just going to keep on flying. They're behind me, I'm alone, it's 2 Tomcats, and I really don't want to deal with that at the moment. I notice there's also a guy passing beneath me, and I see a guy in front of me with IRST. So I have to prioritize my targets. It looks like those Tomcats are going to go after my teammates. The F-14 I see in front of me just ate a missile. And so now I'm going to turn in and start prioritizing targets by order of importance. But of course I have to, again, be mindful of that radar. A Sparrow is easily more maneuverable than I am, so I just have to avoid having one launched on me. Now, the enemy team is distracted. I'm going to fly in, queue up an R-13. I've noticed someone shot at that F-4E, so I'm not going to shoot. That F-14 or F-4 is going to bite the dust, and I'm going to go ahead and shoot at the F-14. This is a prime launch, 3.6 kilometers, and I'm fast, so that is definitely going to hit. He doesn't see it, he's not flaring, and there he goes. There's an F-14 now beneath me that I'm concerned about, so I'm going to go ahead and task on to him. And I notice I'm getting pinged by my RWR. I don't know what's pinging me, which is concerning. But I didn't see anything around me. It's still not pinging me. I'm going to shoot another R-13 at this F-14 in front of me, and I notice there's a Harrier in front of me now as well. Now I cut my burner. I'm going to start pre-flaring for that missile launch. I get a crit on that F-14 I launched at, which is followed up quickly by a kill. And now that Harrier is the last one alive on their team. And I'm going to play a little recklessly here because obviously he's the last one alive, and the amount of teammates I have swarming him makes him a non-issue. I just have to not be stupid and fly in front of his guns. He's probably already wasted his missile, which is why he never shot at me or because I was flaring, so he is completely defensive now. I'm going to pop my air brakes. I'm going to try and line up a shot, but with these GSH-23s, I'm still not the best aim with them. So here we go, I waffle my shots. There's an overshoot. I'm going to stay out of the way of his nose, and he's still completely defensive. And he is still defending, and he will die in a moment. There he goes. And that's GG on game number 2. Now, here we are in game 3, a little bit of a skill issue on my end. I forgot to grab the post-game rewards on the last one. My bad. So once again, we are going to attempt to climb over their radar. At this point, I am well over the midpoint on the map, which means I'm expecting to start seeing other planes right about now. However, what's a little concerning is that I don't. Check the scoreboard, quick glance, America's on the enemy team, which means I know I need to be looking for some Phoenixes coming my way. So I'm just scanning right now for any Phoenix launches. I've got my eye on my RWR as well to see if anything's locking me up. And I'm still not seeing anything, which is very, very peculiar, especially on a map like this. Normally by now you should be seeing some enemies. Now I glance over here on my right and I notice I see someone up high. In a moment I'll notice there is a second one, so I'm going to make the first mistake of this game, which is I'm going to turn into them and start trying to engage in the hopes that they'll fly past. Now I'm still very much near stock. I don't have the R-24s or R-23s, I got nothing all aspect. And here's an F-14 closing on me. I pre-flare because I know he's going to get a shot. I'm still notching him, which is flying perpendicular to make sure he can't get that radar lock. And now we're in a dogfight with an F-14 at the start of the game. Now if I was being sensible, I would have either kept him in the right fight or I would have extended. Instead, I decided to reverse into a one circle, and if you pay attention to the RWR, it is currently screaming in my ear that I am in danger. But I'm just too good at War Thunder. I'm just too good at the game. Alright, look, nobody's perfect. But anywho, here we are in game 4. I am once again at 8,000 meters. Keeping an eye out to my left, I see I'm getting pinged on the RWR, which means there may be a Phoenix coming towards me. I know America's on the enemy team, which means I need to be ready to have a radar missile shoved up my tailpipe. Now off to my left here, I see the missile trail. It's a short burn time, so I know it can't be anything more than an E-2 Sparrow or something of the like. So I'm going to go ahead and start defending, dropping some countermeasures to try and spoof the Seeker. He launches again, it's an F-4E, and I know that missile right there, even if I don't spoof it, or even if I do spoof it, it's still very dangerous. So I'm doing some maneuvers to defend, try and bleed the missile's energy. There's some more countermeasures to try and get the Seeker off me. One explodes behind me, and now I'm going to start turning in and committing to be offensive. I know he's looking down, he doesn't have pulse Doppler, which means he's going to have a very hard time getting a lock on me right now. Pre-flaring in case someone else goes to shoot at me because my RWR is being a little bit crazy. Now I'm just going to go ahead and lead the F-4E up. He has the Agile Eagle modification, but I know I am way more maneuverable than he is at this altitude, especially with my wings out. So now I'm going to bring it back down, see if I can't get some energy back. RWR is still having me a little bit concerned. F-14 out in front 4 kilometers, but he's maneuvering, so I'm going to take an opportunistic R-13 shot. And once again, my focus is back on that F-4E, who is now committing on me. MiG-23 behind him, shot a missile, he doesn't see it, he's gonna go right down. Now I'm clean, I'm gonna go ahead and commit onto the furball forming beneath me. I've still got all my R-60s, still got an R-13, but I don't know who I'm gonna shoot at yet. I could shoot at that F-14, but he's going way too fast, so I don't think I'm gonna try it. Harrier's turning around, I still don't have R aspect. He shot a missile at me, I'm gonna go ahead and cut my burner and flare. Always remember to cut your burner when you're flaring, by the way, because burners are very hot. F4J out in front, there's a missile shot at him, so I'm gonna switch to an R60 due to the parameter, shoot one at him, and now I'm gonna go ahead and turn away. F14's burning, which means the only other threat is that Harrier. That F4J is still running, he just ate a missile from an EJ, and now I'm gonna take the vertical and see what I can't do against that Harrier. Wings are out for the energy retention, and we're just going to fall right back down on top of him. He, however, eats a missile from the MiG-23, and that is GG. Only one kill, but it's a win.
Attack the D point! Yes!
To end off this video, here are some of my top tips for improving your overall gameplay at top tier. Feel free to leave more in the comments. Number 1. Always maintain situational awareness. This includes scanning for missile trails with the Mark 1 eyeball, paying good attention to your radar warning receiver, and constantly checking your 6. Additionally, always check above and below you. For those of you flying an aircraft with a good radar, I strongly recommend you point your radar upwards at the start of the match to catch any opportunistic pilot trying to climb above you. Any aircraft up high is a good target for a radar-guided missile. Number 2. Know your own aircraft and your enemy's strengths and weaknesses. Currently, it is possible to down any enemy aircraft with a bit of elbow grease and finesse. Even a MiG-21 BIS can take out an F-14 if played correctly. It is paramount to know the capabilities of the enemy's aircraft in order to counter them. For example, what is their radar prone to? Do they have a pulse Doppler, or should you try to notch them? What kind of missiles do they have, and what are they likely to be shooting at you right now? Number 3. Practice identifying and defending missiles. Find someone who's willing to hop into a larger map and sling some Sparrows, Skyflashes, or Phoenixes at you. These scary radar missiles are lethal when employed correctly, especially Sparrows, but can be hard countered with proper defensive maneuvers. Most Eastern aircraft in the game have playstyles that hinge entirely on surviving until the merge, which means getting past those radar missiles first if you're playing against America, Britain, France, or Sweden. Other nations have radar-guided munitions, but they're not as prevalent. I'll see about uploading a guide on this later. Anywho, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Why are they asymmetrical in the hangar? What is this?